Hey, good morning, everybody. This is John Palmer, Dr. Speed Selling. This is a Raging Verbalist number 319319 for those keeping track of it. I'm actually on the road and, hey, didn't get my lighting quite right or whatever you want to call it. So, all right, Raging Verbalist, we talk about a variety of different topics, something that pops into my head and just pushes me over the edge. And that's what we have today. And there's a little road warrior stuff going on. So, all right, so here's the end. Well, all right. First off, I don't dive too much into politics. Sometimes I do, but today this is more of a business question, business thing that I see going on. So, flew Southwest yesterday to Denver, and by doing that, I ended up encountering for the very first time that Southwest Airlines has made a decision, and is this the worst decision it's ever made? One of the most difficult things you can do in business is find a way to differentiate yourself from your competitors and make sure that you stand out from the crowd and you look different than other people. Southwest did this by having certain things like open seating. Open seating meant that you showed up. The good old days, they gave you a little plastic card, and you had that plastic card, and that told you which order you were going to board in. They then modified it to create groups A, B, C. I mean, it's a complicated system. And then you got, numbers 1 through 60 or whatever the heck they came up with. Well, they decided that that was a little, people made fun of them and talked about it. By the way, differentiation, here's your lesson here, your bonus, is that differentiation is all about having a sharp edge in marketing and being different, which means that there are going to be people who will not like you, who will not understand you, who will not do business with you because of what you do that differentiates yourself. So you're never going to make them happy by doing that. And businesses fail all the time because they get some, smart Harvard MBA. My rule is never hire a Harvard MBA. If you're Harvard MBA, too bad, probably, but you wouldn't want to work for me anyway. But I can tell you is that their differentiation, one of them was this whole process. And then to hear commentators on every side of the aisle go, well, it's a cattle car, it's the worst that's ever been. I mean, geez, all of that stuff. Well, it was the realization that we got a bus in the sky. That's what it is. It is a bus in the sky, and it's going to get us from point A to point B as fast as we possibly can. And it kind of reminds me of taking a trip with my father, which is, hey, kids, get in the car because we're leaving now. Not, well, who's going to sit where? Get in the car. Okay. So they decided that they're going to ditch that. And for the first time, and I have had well over 1 million points on flying them, which means I've flown them a lot to get 1 million+ points. I think I topped out at like 1.5 million, something like that. So I've been using them. I figure, well, I'm not going to live forever, so use the points. But the point that I'm making here is the fact that they changed and said, we're going to go to assigned seating. So the first time ever I took a Southwest flight and I had to deal with assigned seating. Now, the seat that I had picked when I bought the ticket, I thought was all settled and done. But no, their system assigned me a different seat, which meant that when I then checked in again, more laborious process. Remember, don't add friction. Bureaucrats add friction. Entrepreneurs remove friction, except in pornos. Anyway, you're sitting there and you now have to select your seat. So I selected my seat and they said, okay, now you've got the seat and all is good and done. Now, there we go. We have that. So now they're running a shit ton of ads. They did it all over the place. It's on the internet. I see them all the time showing how people are so happy that they don't have to race to get to there and all that. Now, what did open seating do and what behavior did it encourage? First off, don't dilly dally and not be at the gate, because if you're not at the gate and your boarding party goes, then your ass is in the back. And that's a high level of incentive to show up and get on the damn airplane. Well, okay, now we've got boarding groups and we've got numbers. And by the way, if you're in boarding groups 5 to 8, because now they got 8 boarding groups from what I could tell, then you're and your bag doesn't fit in the overhead bin, then we're going to store it on the wing and all this stuff. Again, Bullshit, bullshit, bullshit. Oh, and by the way, my question is, are you going to turn into American Airlines? And I started asking Southwest employees. And by the way, they're grumpier. And then we had a guy standing there who was the gate agent who was barking commands. And I went, this isn't Philadelphia. This isn't this isn't American Airlines, which I don't fly the big guys anymore after getting screwed on different fares, different problems, different things. Too complicated, guys. And the most important thing is get people on the plane, get the plane away from the gate, get in the air, and get to your destination. I don't care whether or not you got 8D or not. And humans can't handle the numbering system. Now, I say it's a failure of Sesame Street and Big Bird and all of those because for some reason they didn't figure out how to teach people how to count. I mean, they had the Dracula count guy. By the way, years ago I was in a student film with that, but that's a different issue. We won't get into that. But I can tell you that when I went from Philadelphia to Denver on American Airlines a few years ago, it took them 45 minutes to board the airplane. This is 157 people. Get on the damn plane and get out of here. And of course, what they've done is they have the idiocy of human behavior. Well, that's not my seat. This isn't my seat. And you have to explain to people the pilot sits in A and the co-pilot. So we have A, B, C, D, E, F sits in F because that's 6 seats. It goes left to right, top to bottom. That's what we have in this country. Now they do it differently in China and Japan, and they have different things. And and the Russians have Cyrillic. Doesn't matter. But people can't get over that. So quit wasting that. So my question is customer service is all about and wrapped up in one single word: speed. If you improve the speed at which you deliver your service, even if what you're giving them isn't that great, but it's fast, it is like the flight attendant who was in Schiphol Airport in Amsterdam said to me at the McDonald's, the reason why I stop and eat at McDonald's is because it's fast, I know what I'm going to get, and it's consistent. Has Southwest made the worst decision ever? We'll see. Frankly, it ties into my book, which is most businesses fail in the first 5 minutes. Maybe they failed in this that they selected, but they had, I'm sure, a lot of good feedback. Did people like the open sea? Oh, I don't like this. Those aren't your customers. Southwest flights are freaking packed. Why? Because the fares are well understood and all of that. And we're not having to worry about whether or not Granny is going to find her seat or whoever else. So if you want your business to fail in the first 5 minutes, it just takes 3 to 5 years to realize it, position to win. Go pick it up as an ebook. So you can read it on your flight, Kindle, iBooks, Barnes and Noble Nook if you're still out there. Also, you can buy it at any bookstore. You can buy it physically because you can go in and say, hey, I need that most businesses fail thing. Give me that book. Or you can go to our website, positiontowinbook.com, positiontowinbook.com. So this is John Paul Mendoza, Dr. Speed Selling as a road warrior this week and telling you one thing. If you ever get a brilliant idea to mess up your business, and we'll see what's going to happen with Southwest, but they have killed one of their major differentiations. And all I can say is, God help them. Now, they're going to make some people happy, but the people who fly a lot, people have millions of points like myself, look at it and go, this is bullshit. The last thing I want to do is have a barking idiot at the gate telling me about the overhead bag problem and how we got to make sure we're in the right seats and make sure we're going to do that stuff. All I can say is that is a dumb idea. And whoever they paid, boy, I wish I was that person because they are not thinking about the one and the most important thing out there, which is how do you make it go faster? Because if you actually truly had people who are flyers, not people who are dragging their whole life with them and they're SUV of stuff, but really, there are people who want to fly. They would probably have said, just like I did, get me on the damn plane and get me out of here. Let me learn an easy system and make it work because it's going to create lots of time and energy and it's going to create friction that doesn't result in getting the job done. This is John Paul Mendoza, Dr. Speed Selling. This has been Raging Verbalist number 319. Until the next time, from this road warrior to you, is make sure that when you differentiate something that you know you're going to take heat, get over it, and move on, because that is what marketing is all about. The sharp edge of marketing is constantly about understanding how to divide, We're not here as a politician trying to bring everybody together in a kumbaya moment. We have these are our customers and these go away, because that's in fact what happens in life for successful companies and successful marketing. See you next time. And from the road, I'm out.